Everybody's laughing.
They can hear you now. They
Oh,
couldn't
yeah?
hear you for a second.
Well, isn't this funny? I'm trying to put on an act for you. Help! 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 Okay, a few smiles. Come on, help! Help! Okay, let's be happy about Christmas. I'm not. Oh, Christmas. How do you really feel about Christmas? I'll tell you how I feel. I'm old enough to have seen 1,000 of them, and it's wearing thin, and I'm not ready at all, and I'm feeling pressure at the end of the year, like I haven't done enough, and what am I going to do in the next year? And it comes down to almost like a giant report card on my life at Christmas time, the end of the year. It's terrible, but that's how I feel about it. I'm really excited about my family coming over, but why do I have to cook? I'm a little resentful. I'm really happy to see my wonderful relatives, but my brother-in-law is starting to bother me. You know, all these things come out. So I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to try to not think about much until after the holidays because it's too exhausting. But after the holidays, you got to get really serious about your business if you want to have a plan for the new year. And I normally, years ago, used to do my planning in December, so I was ready to go in January. But in the last 5 years, I'm just never in the mood. So what I do is I put a date in my book in November, December, ironclad date of 2 days, actually, that I'm going to do planning with my team and set my goals for the new year. So I think just having the date in my book, which I already have on January 12th, I feel enormously better to take that off my list and have the time put aside. I would only suggest to you, if you're not planning before year end, you do put a date in your book so that you go away from your desk, anybody, any place but your desk, and start to sit down and dream what I really want and how will I get there. And the more team members or more board members, you could have board members being friends or people who know your business in that brainstorming session, the better the plan you'll come out with. I'm going to have 4 people in my session. Simply because I know I only have 1 out of 4 ideas, so I'm going to come up with really good ideas with 5 people all working together. Okay. All right. So let's get on with the questions.
I'm gonna move your camera just a little bit.
Okay.
Because it got hit by the large candy cane.
Oh, the candy cane. I love that candy cane.
And we'll get started. We have lots of great questions today. As a reminder, we do give Barbara the paid questions first. So drop your questions in the comments and we will get to it eventually. We have them all written down. So the first one comes in from Lisa.
Yes, Lisa. What do you got?
I make bamboo sun parasols and hand fans. I'm nervous about the price of assembling in the United States, but equally concerned about the tariffs if I assemble overseas and import them. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, Lisa, I'm just not a believer in worrying about things that probably won't happen or might happen. I think to plan ahead for unforeseen something that's going to change your business could drive you crazy. But I do believe you should do the research so you know what you're going to do if it happens. But to feel any anxiety over it's going to happen, what if we get these tariffs after Trump takes the presidency? Sure, everybody's worried about that. But what can you do about it? You can't move on it. You don't know for sure. So I would say relax, first of all, relax. And now's the time to do your research. And if it were me, I would price that prototype 2 different ways, okay? It was a prototype, was it? Is that what you said? Yeah, it was a prototype. Okay, I'm on that then. Okay, I would price it 2 different ways. You can manufacture it here or you can manufacture it overseas. The advantage, of course, of manufacturing something here is it's fast, you're in better control, takes the guesswork out of the taxes that you're worried about, and it's a really quick turnaround time, but it's more expensive. But I would do it anyway. I would go on Thomas, is it .net or Thomasnet?
Thomas.net.
If you go on Thomas.net, long list of suppliers and what they do, what they specialize in. So it's a shortcut to finding suppliers. What you really want to do is you want to look for suppliers that already list products similar to yours, because you don't want to go to a shoe supplier when you have a gadget, right? That makes, of course, sense. So look for as close as you can and get prices from those people. The other thing is you should price it overseas as though you are going to get tariffs, and look into the countries that maybe are not going to get tariffs. Everybody's saying Vietnam, Korea, and Thailand are not going to have to pay tariffs. So I would definitely look at those countries instead of China for overseas manufacturing. And always remember that a very good source that I use all the time for so much is Alibaba. It's kind of like a resource for everything. If you go to Alibaba and ask for a manufacturer and narrow it down and put in your product, it's going to give you a narrow list and it's going to save you a lot of time. So it's available for everyone, but I would price it both ways. That's what I think I lost sight of saying clearly, price it both ways.
The next question comes in from Gerald.
Yeah, Gerald.
Where do I get a prototype made?
Well, there's a lot of ways. One is, wait, even before I tell you the lot of ways, I'm going to ask you, what do you need a prototype for? What do you really need a prototype for? How will you use it? Okay. I ask that because 2 out of 3 people who have prototypes made make them too early. They think they have to have them when a beautiful 3D dimensional drawing would accomplish their purpose just as well. So I would question myself, how am I going to use it? Is it really necessary to spend the money on that right now? The first thing you could do is you could do it yourself by avoiding a prototype, by making elementary vision or visual. Make it crystal clear of all the parts of the product you're trying to do so that people could visualize it. So that's how you avoid the prototype. If you really want to get a prototype, Google prototype. I guess I would put in prototype made near me, made near me. I would also include your type of product and then go right on Fiverr and Upwork, which I think I think are the 2 best sites to give you designers and engineers that don't charge a lot. There's every type there. They could charge you a ton, but the great majority are very low price. So I believe that's a wonderful resource for finding prototype makers just by checking those lists, okay? You could also, again, I'll mention, I don't think I'm ever going to mention to you again, Alibaba. I feel like I'm saying it all the time, but go on out Alibaba and look for manufacturers that make similar product than you want to have made. And the last overlooked area that I would like to recommend is a lot of local universities have 3D dimensional printers. And if you go to those universities, find out, you could usually make your prototype right there, and it's very, very cheap. So those are 3 different ways of going to get a prototype. But again, I stop you on the front end. Why do you need it now? Why do you need to spend that money? The thing, honestly, that goes wrong with a prototype, I might warn you, is it's very unusual for an entrepreneur to make one prototype and not change it once or twice before it's actually manufactured. So you're paying and paying and paying before you get feedback. I would say get your feedback on a drawing or whatever, and be careful about spending that money until you really know what you want to manufacture, because most entrepreneurs make a lot of mistakes, okay? It's work in progress.
The next question's a live question from Anna. I've been a corporate leader for 20 years, and I started a leadership development company 3 years ago. It's been so much fun to grow my own business, and I originally made a 5-year plan to take it full time. What's most important to know as I shift from the corporate employee to self-employed? I appreciate your help.
I think there are a couple of questions you have to ask yourself, and I actually walked in those shoes of having 1,000 people working for me and all the attention, all the hoopla, and then I sold my business. I had nobody. Ask yourself, are you going to be okay working by yourself? A lot of people are not okay working by themselves. So you have to know your personality. Will you need a team you're used to teams now, your manager? Are you really going to miss the team and get okay with that? I think the second thing you must do is ask yourself, where am I going to get clients? It's all about sales. When you're starting a business, I don't care what you're doing. It's all about sales. So ask yourself, what are my sources for getting good leads for new clients, and make a long list of those clients. I think that's the best way to come out of the gate, knowing who you're going to hit on for sales. That's what you should do absolutely first.
Okay, the next question.
Am I talking okay today? I feel a little mouthy.
No,
does that sound
great.
okay? Okay.
I'm enjoying it. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Let's see.
Are you enjoying it?
All right, lots of thumbs
Nobody's
up.
giving you a thumbs up. Nobody. You're fired. The lady here didn't give a thumbs up. This guy's fired. Yeah.
The next one comes in from Ricardo. Hi, Barbara. I'm the CEO of teatheworld.com, an online tea business. How can I leverage social media as a modern day billboard to promote my products and reach a wider audience of tea enthusiasts?
Well, Ricardo, you're going to have to get clever. A lot of people think social media and getting sales from social media is more about paid advertising or advertising. It's not. It's about being clever. You've got to discover or invent, brainstorm with people you know, or read stuff or get an idea. But you need a way of promoting your tea platform that's different than people sitting around drinking tea. Oh, isn't this nice? Isn't this nice? Nobody's going to fall for that. What could you do that's very visual or very comical or very much involves the people who would normally buy tea? But usually you have to really get creative. So I would give most of my thought to how would I promote myself on social media, being extremely creative. a couple of things that just came to mind. I went on your site, I think, did I look at his site? Is he the guy with the blood mango?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You gave me the idea actually when I looked at your site. You have unusual flavors of your tea. There was one called Blood Mango, and that gave me and reminded me of Tom and Jerry's ice cream, who actually got all those wacky names like Chunky Monkey and all that shit. They didn't think of that. I always thought they thought of that. But I met them once and they said they got all those names actually from their customers. They would describe exactly what was in the ice cream and they say, what would you name it? And then they would let everybody name it, everybody get involved, pick the best name, and that's how they got these ingenious names like Chunky Monkey. I would take a lesson out of their playbook and definitely involve people on social media in naming my tea. You call it, what was that again? It was a crazy name. Blood what?
Blood mango, I think.
Blood
it was.
mango it
Yeah.
was, okay? I think on that one, you were talking about it being good for your skin. I might be mixed up with that and chamomile, but I think you need a visualization of this tea called blood mango being the absolute thing best for your skin. Not just people sipping it, but, oh yeah, look at this beautiful girl with the skin, you know? You gotta make a visual of the benefit that's very clear and very different, okay? I think you also have to share your user-generated tea. Ask them to send you shots of them drinking your tea. Would you send me a shot when your order goes out, or reply to them when they first do that? Would remember to send us a shot of us drinking the tea. You see people all over drinking the tea, being happy. That helps you. And last, consider paying for the advertising when all else is done. And I mean when all else is done, because you could waste a lot of money on paid advertising. You have to do it very carefully. But I should say you could pay as little as $10 a day for a small reach, like to reach 5,000 targeted customers. That's how you should start, with a little budget, and see how it works. See how it works and watch it each day to see if you're really getting a return on that investment, and then start increasing your budget, okay? But it's very true that most entrepreneurs put the spending money first and put the creativity second, and it really goes the other way around. Creativity is what makes your brand on social media every time.
The next question is a live question
Yeah.
from Bariatric Chef. I started selling.
What is his name?
Bariatric Chef.
Sounds like geriatrics, which is something I identify with.
I started selling a product this year in the hopes of building a brand. My trademark application was recently denied because they found similarities to 2 other brands. I reached out to those 2 trademarks holders, and at first, both seemed friendly and willing to help me
I
with
doubt
an
it.
agreement to get my mark. But one of the owners stopped returning my calls 3 weeks ago. What should I do? Do I check in again, wait it out, or give up on the pursuit?
This is to protect the name? Did he say that?
Yes, to protect the name.
Well, first of all, if I might say so, I don't think the name's so good. I mean, what's the name again?
It is Bariatric Chef.
Bariatric, what does that mean? I'm sorry.
I think it's like healthy meals for people who are trying to lose weight and have had bariatric
I
surgery.
see. I don't know. That's not a name I would remember. I just asked twice and I forgot it already. So think about, is it worth putting yourself behind a name? Is it that good to worry about? On that name, I wouldn't worry about losing it. And maybe the guy did you a favor by objecting. You got to move on to something else. If you have any social media following, I have renamed many of my Shark Tank businesses, but I have a big following. But even with a little following, when I had a little following 10, 12 years ago, I did it then. You could also ask your followers to name your business. What do you think would be a good name? This is my business. What do you think would be a good name? I renamed many of my Shark Tank businesses based on one person giving me a good name. You could also go on AI and say, give me 15 or give me 100 names having the word tea in it. That's it. And then you could go back and you could make it more narrow. Give me wild names that have the word tea in. Give me ridiculous names that have the name tea in. And they'll shoot out list and list and list just by going to AI and asking that simple question. I would definitely not get married to my name. I'm sorry if you're offended on that, because I think names are always very personal, but I'm not crazy about your name. And I would definitely move on and create another name. That's what I would do. Did I answer his question though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you're barking up that tree and convincing that guy and he's not returning calls, he's not going to ever return your call. Forget about it. You're wasting your time. Yeah.
Another one coming in, Ginger asks, if
Yeah.
you were competing in a 90-day challenge to make $1 million, what would be your first step?
What would I do? Well, I would do what I know best. And what I really know best is real estate. I would go into a market I know New York City, and I would start at the bottom. What's the cheapest apartments out there, or office spaces, or just the cheapest out there, the bottom of the pot, and things that have been on the market a long time. And I'd make a very low offer, try to fix it up really fast and flip it. In 90 days, you could do that. You go buy it, fix it up really fast, pay and FICO and flip it. If you got something cheap that has a little fat in there. So I would do it on real estate, but that's the only thing I'm totally comfortable in. So I wouldn't really feel at risk in that period because I feel like I have a good judgment, good eye for what's value, and also a good eye for how to fix things up. And I have a good eye on what it can sell for. So I'd move with confidence on an area that I know well. I wouldn't get involved in any other venture that I don't know anything of. That's a sure way to lose your money.
The next question comes in from Ida. I'm a realtor with 12 years in the top 5% of our brokerage.
Wow, that's a lot.
I have repeated referral business. I'm currently outdoor knocking to get business, and I'm also on social media, but I've never seen a downturn like this. What advice can you give me in today's real estate market to grow my presence?
Well, first of all, congratulations. That is not easy to do, to be in top 5% of your brokerage. It's really the echelon of the winners, the real producers. But even those producers right now in some real estate markets are having a hard time, and I guess you are too. I think you got to put your head on straight. Look at your job of selling real estate as a long-term game, because it is a long-term game. You have your high markets, your low markets, and your in-between markets, which we're kind of having now, which nobody really, not enough people are doing stuff, so you can't make a lot of commissions. I would take my time right now if I wanted to be in touch with my old customers and my whole town and everybody who owns a house, your potential pool. I would publish a report. I would publish a report on the market and everything going on in your hometown. What's the average price there? Which neighborhoods are selling for more? Which neighborhoods are selling for less? What's the average square footage? What types of houses are selling for what? How long are things on the market? You could go on and on and on. But to make you an expert, you really have to quantify something in a report. And I think people would respond to it. They might not list their house now. You can change that. But I would definitely work toward having a long-term plan. And I think the best long-term plan for any real estate broker is to be considered and revered and respected as the expert in the market. So now's a little quiet time. Why not use that quiet time to build up your presence in the market where people start to rely on your little report? How do you make a report? How do you get started? It's really very easy. You sit down, you have to give a day aside, and make a list of everything that's sold in the last year and the year before. List every house, how many bedrooms. It's a pain in the ass, but I've done it many times. List every house and what it sold for and how many bedrooms and how much square footage. And then step back and see that list, and you will see a trend. You'll see what's most interesting about this. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's curious. That's the beginning of a report. You want to start with those numbers. Let's just say the west side of your town prices have dumped 15%, and you pick that up, whereas the east side of your town is going up by 5% a year. Then you have to give reasons why, what has affected the sales. But people will rely on you, will want to know your opinion. If you send that report to your whole territory and do it consistently, like every 6 months, keep them updated on what's going on in home values, people will love you and rely on you and invite you in to give you their listing, or at least to pitch on their listing. Okay, but get the report started now while it's a little quiet. It's much more productive, honestly, than going door to door right now, because you don't get the quantity of responses you really need for that effort.
The next one comes in from Judy. It's a live question.
And by the way, I should say, once you publish a report, I would definitely give your local reporters the first crack at the report, because they'll have you on a local radio station, a local news station. If you have a local TV, you should send it out to them, because you'll establish yourself immediately as a expert. And by the way, we're talking real estate here. I think becoming the expert in any field you're in is the way to go. You have to think, how could I become the expert? And you know what holds people back? It holds people back because people don't think they have the right to be there. I remember when I first published my Corcoran report, it put me on the map. Everybody was calling me, the reporters, everybody considered me an expert overnight. How the hell did that happen? I didn't know anything. I was a little broker. The big companies do everything, but people call me, not the big companies. So I think really you have to think of yourself, how could I publish something that makes me the expert. And if you don't know your territory, like I'm trying to think of if what's a weird thing like the price of stockings. Let's say it's ridiculous, but let's say I'm manufacturing ladies' stockings, hosiery. I would publish the hosiery report right away. I think it applies to anything. If I was manufacturing buttons, I would publish a button report. What buttons do kids like best? You could do a little focus group. What would sell best? What do buttons sell for today? Why have they gotten less expensive or more expensive? It sounds like it's not interesting, but believe me, when it goes into a report and you send it out, it gets interesting fast. Okay? That's it. You'll see the trend in your own stuff if you make a list of all your sales. What's interesting about these sales? What would be interesting about these sales to share with other people? Get it?
The next one's a live question from Juhi.
From who?
Juhi, Juhi. I'm not sure how you pronounce
Chewy.
it.
Maybe. Well, whoever you are, Chewy.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
What's one thing you wish you'd done differently on your journey?
On my journey, I guess you mean my life journey or my business journey? What do you think?
I think your life journey.
Yeah. On my life journey, honest to God, I wouldn't change a thing. I know that sounds arrogant, but I really wouldn't, because even the hard times, once you pass them and look back, you really realize you learn the most. They were your best times. They made you take a left turn when you weren't expecting it. Things happen, So I honestly think that I would do the same stuff. One thing I had a very hard time with, I think I've mentioned to you before, is school. I was a terrible student my whole life. I got through it just on charity, honestly. I failed everything, but I had all the people turn them D's. From F's to D's is a big difference, Okay, but I've learned that now as an adult, the dyslexics usually have a great advantage over the good learners, honestly, in business. So I've learned to love it, okay? Because we're more visual. We know how to bullshit because we never know the answer, so we get good at bullshitting along the way. I have found that my most successful entrepreneurs from Shark Tank are all dyslexic, except for one. Figure that out. All the most successful have some kind of a learning disability, and if not a learning disability, they had some kind of real hardship growing up, real hardship that you wouldn't wish on yourself. And I think that becomes their stamina when they get older. They're fighting back. And those people are very capable of building a big business. So would I wish that I was a smart student like my other sisters and brothers who got straight A's without opening a book? Sure, I would rather be like them. But in adult life, I outperform them a lot because I have the talent that applies well to business and they don't. Okay. So whatever you got. So I'm happy with what I got. I guess I'm back to the first answer. I'm happy. I don't have an answer for you. I'm pretty happy that everything happened as it did. Yeah.
The next one comes in from ECIS Group LLC. What advice do you have for investing in social media marketing?
Well, I think I alluded to this before. The most important advice is be very, very careful if you're going to be spending money. Did he say paid or
Yes, invest.
paid marketing? Yeah. You could spend a lot of money and people tend to make it not accountable. Like really how many customers are you getting and what's the profit on those customers? Not like I got 50 customers, but when you really figure it out, after you pay the advertising, how much profit did you get? I think you have to figure that out all along the way. But I think you have to start very, very small with a limited budget, like 5,000 maybe would be a limited budget if you could even afford that. And I think you have to really be on top of it to see if it's working and buy a small market, but saturate that small market versus 5,000 across the board. It's crazy. You have to figure out your market and target to the market. If you're not good at social media, I've said this before, but I'll repeat it again. You should give it away. Not everybody's good at social media. Great entrepreneurs out there who have great social media, but they're not doing it. Okay, I've helped with my social media. It wouldn't be as good as it is. Okay, if you're not naturally good at social media, give it away. Get somebody part-time for 3 hours a week is better than you procrastinating about it week to week. You get a young person, they could charge a little and then give the person license to run away. Don't edit what they're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Because that kills a creative effort. I was doing that in the beginning when I gave my social media away, and guess what? It didn't do well. And nothing ever got out of the box because I was the bottleneck holding it up. Social media is fast like that. It's got to happen all the time. And remember that social media today is a real fast moving target. all the algorithms are always changing. You have to adapt to it fast. So you really need somebody who's really into it if you're going to do well on social media.
The next question is one that's been coming up a lot. There's lots and lots of questions. What's the best way for me to get chosen to go on Shark Tank?
Oh, you know what you do? A woman or a man asking? Can you tell?
And we've had a couple people ask it.
Okay.
So I'm like, let me throw it in here.
All right. If you're a woman, wear a low-cut blouse and be good looking. If you're not good looking, bring your sister-in-law as your friend. I don't think I'm supposed to say this. No, don't say it. Don't say it. They say, don't say it. Okay. So I won't say it. All right. But if you want to flaunt your advantage, whatever your advantage is, if you're beautiful, you want to look beautiful on Shark Tank. I think to get interviewed for a possible spot on Shark Tank, you submit it on abc.com, but always submit a videotape. I don't think they ask you for a videotape, but they get deluged with applications, and it's easier for all that team of producers to actually look at the videotapes and see a trial run of what you'll sound like on air. Because in their mind, it's really not, do you have a great product? That's nice, but that's the extra. The real thing they're looking for is, do you pitch well? Are you interesting? Do you look right? Do you sound interesting? Is it wacky? They're more interested in good TV. I'm interested not in the good TV, but I'm interested, is it a good investment? But the producers who choose you are looking for good TV first, and is it a decent investment? The sharks will figure it out, but the producers want to figure out who the good candidates who would make a good show. So you want to send a video in, you want to dress in bright colors so differently. If you're in the reindeer business, wear reindeer ears, be goofy, whatever, get their attention. And then run it by your friends or family and see how good it seems to them, and do it again, and then send in a good video. Not a polished video, but kind of like what your pitch would look like. That's how you get chosen for Shark Tank.
Okay, it's time for our first deep dive.
By the way, I wanted to say something up on one more thing. I've noticed on Shark Tank, if you go in with a partner, your chances of being chosen to be on Shark Tank and your chances of being chosen as an investment go up exponentially. I would say 3 times. You know, the sharks love to invest in partnerships. I do. And Shark Tank loves to hedge their bets. They get 2 partners pitching. If one's great and the other's not so great, that's good. You haven't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you could get a partner, even a minor partner, who would be helpful to you on pitching, I think that ought to happen. It increases your odds by a lot.
So our first deep dive is here.
Ooh, deep.
Dave, if you can just unmute, I just put the request in. Great, and I'll read
Hi,
your
Barbara.
Hey, Dave. How are you, Dave?
Move on a
Good,
little
Barbara.
fast
How are you?
to get to it.
Good.
What are your thoughts on selling consignment versus wholesale? When we first started our 3D printing business, we wanted to be seen, so we tried to get into every mom and pop shop possible. We sold mostly on consignment, but now we're finding that a number of the shops we're in are having trouble paying us despite saying our products are selling and asking for restocks. Should we consider pulling out of these shops that don't pay?
You know, I'm a little bit of son of a gun, Dave. I like to believe in people's intentions are good, but it usually doesn't land in a good place at all. When a retail shop is not paying for anything on time, it usually means that they have cash flow problems. And when they have cash flow problems, usually if you're not paid this month, it's unlikely you'll be paid the following month. How many months have they owed you money, Dave?
Both shops have owed since, I would say, August.
Oh, yeah. And they're saying to you they don't have the money right now, but they'd like more stock?
Right.
And
Right.
they're asking
So they're like,
for more stock?
yes.
Oh.
So I reached out. I reached out and I was like, just curious to see if the products were selling. Is that why I'm not hearing back? And if they weren't selling, then we need to pivot to new products for your stop. If it's not going to work out, that's understandable. I get it. That happens. But if they are selling, I'm not hearing back in any payment.
Well, what do you
So,
think is
I
happening
mean-
with the money?
And then
Dave?
they're both saying, well, one woman said that she was having a hard month, a few months, like personal wise. The other woman, her shop, she has 3 shops, and she said they're all having financial issues, and she couldn't pay until next year.
Okay. Well,
But
first
can we
of
get more?
all,
But
go
they
ahead.
both wanted more stock. But then they both wanted me to restock their shelves.
Yeah. Well, first
So I
of all,
struggle.
yeah, first, don't struggle. Just decide you're not going to restock. I mean, your stock costs you money, and they're going to keep the profit unintentionally. They're nice people, but but there's no money to be paid and I haven't paid you so far, so they would never change it going forward. You know, you'd be the last good guy paid, honestly, and it would be a long wait. So no, I wouldn't. But the question here is, what have you learned from this experience? You put in your good merchandise into 2 shops and both are having problems paying. What I would learn from that is you don't have enough shops. 2 out of 2 don't pay you. You need a lot more shops to have your product in. Okay, you can't rely on those 2 shops. And I'm sorry, so sorry. Go ahead.
Those are the 2 shops that are on consignment. The most of our shops are wholesale. So the question to you was then, what do you think is better? Obviously, the wholesale or the consignment.
They're both good. If you do consignment, if you do wholesale, they both work, but you got to be paid. They only work if you're getting paid on time. I would definitely, on the shops not paying, pull my merchandise, and I would definitely, going forward, make your terms crystal clear. Do you have them sign anything, Dave, when you're giving them the merchandise?
So they give us the contracts on their terms. So we sign that we're agreeing on the 60-40 split for a certain amount of months out of 3 months, and then up into the next 6 months. And
The shops are all suggesting the same thing,
yes,
so then that's a standard kind of operating.
right.
Okay, but what do you have to protect you when you start with the shop? Do you have something in writing that says they must pay within 30 days?
I know. I guess no. I don't.
Yeah, you
That's
have
what
to make
we
it
do.
right up front. They give you something you want to sign, it's better that you prepare it yourself. But even if you're
Okay.
going to sign what they're giving you, put your clause right up front, must pay within 30
Okay.
days, whatever it is, or must put a deposit down, or can't get more merchandise until a percentage of the merchandise sells. Think through what would work for your business and
Okay.
make it crystal clear the terms when you walk in. You have to state your policy up front.
Okay. So once they give me the contract, read it, and then bring them back with our contract.
Well, that, or we
Like
do
our
add
terms.
a clause to their contract, makes them feel friendlier. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
2 out of how many shops are not paying you?
Just the 2 out of I would say we're probably in 10, give or take.
That's a lot. That's 20%, isn't it? I don't
Yeah.
not that good at math. That's a lot. That puts your business at risk.
It is.
How dare they not pay you? Honestly, I mean, they don't have the
That's
money.
kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, you're
But
gonna
then I
get
look
really
at
pissed.
yeah, and then I feel bad because that's how I am. But I also want that they can't walk all over me, right? Like how do you say to them, you can't walk
can't
all
do
over
that
me,
to me. Dave, I like to
right?
picture your whole life. You've been letting a few people walk all over you. I'm not saying you're a sucker or anything, but you're a nice guy. I could tell you're a really nice guy. So you probably empathize too much with the shop owner, like, oh God, they're having a hard time. They just need another month, whatever. But no, you gave them the month already. You pull your stuff and you say, give me a call. I'll come right over when you're ready to do business again. But all you can control is the business going forward. And that's why you have to make your policy clear up front.
Do you think it'd be smart to ask them to switch to consignment?
To switch
I mean,
what?
I'm sorry, to wholesale. To suggest to them,
Consignment, all, yeah, sure, but I doubt whether they have the money. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think you're gonna see the money. I don't think it makes much difference what you do. Just by changing your policy for the future things you do is what's gonna pay off. Write them off,
Okay.
20%.
I like the idea though.
Yeah,
I like the idea of adding the clause.
yeah. We'll give them respect
Yeah.
for you too. They'll treat you differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, Dave, thank you so much. Good luck to
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. You like my candy cane, right?
I love the candy cane.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And look at my holiday.
Oh my gosh, you look so pretty.
Well,
Thank you so much.
We'll
Thank
do
you.
a little dance break. Why not, right?
A little dance break to get going again? Why? We already did the dance up front. All right, get it off. Come on, we're missing a question, I'm
Okay,
sure.
the next one comes in from Maddie. I'm gonna pin you, so give me 2 seconds to get her up here.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, that's why they were buying time, because you didn't have Maddie's
Yeah, it
question.
was my fault, but
All
now we're
right.
back.
Okay.
We are unmuting you, and Maddie, I'll read your question, and then you guys can. I'm building a ghostwriting business, and things are going well. Most of my clients come in at an entry level of writing services that built the foundation of my business, but my skills and systems are ready for bigger projects. I'm growing a small but mighty team of writers and editors. How do I take my company from the initial startup phase and start attracting the full ghostwriting clients I initially set out to write for.
Okay, so you're really after clients, not writers. Am I understanding you well, Maddie?
Correct. Correct. Clients, not writers.
And you have a good deal of confidence that you're able to attract the right writers and train them and bring them up, right?
Yes, I am. We have a system that's working really well.
Okay, so that's working for you. So the other side of any business is sales. How are you at selling?
Good, 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 good. I have something that I feel like I'm hanging on to the tail of a comet. It's very organic, very authentic, and we're leading with our passion and connecting with our authors. Very
So
well.
Lee, that sounds pretty good. Are you connecting with your authors, you said?
Yes, I'm the writer and I have a writing team. The ghostwriting is a writing service and the authors are the ones who bring us their stories. So I'm the story finder. My team and I are the finders and the writers, and the people who come to us are the authors and the storytellers.
So you're almost the broker between the two sets of people.
Yeah.
How much of your time are you spending on the outside selling? Not at your desk.
If I had more time, probably 25% of the time.
Okay, and how much networking are you doing with clients? Potential clients or the field of people that are likely to buy from you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably say with my ideal clients, maybe 15% of the time. The struggle I'm having is I'm finding that I'm the bottleneck in my business.
You
And
are?
I'm wanting to be we're very intentional. The team and I are very intentional about the infrastructure that we're building. And I want to under promise
right.
and deliver.
You want to have it right, right?
I want to have it right. And I don't want to grow fast. It's about telling the stories and making sure that those, because people bring to me when they bring their books, they're bringing time, money, heart, and their purpose of the vision of their future. And I don't want to squander that. So I'm working hard. So my numbers are good. They're solid. I'm good at selling. I'm good at what I have in place. I need to balance my numbers on how much time I'm spending meeting people and how do I go from there.
Well, you kind of know your own solution. You're kind of going where I was going to go with your question. You're not selling enough. You're not out there enough. Your head's not there enough. It's almost like with your leftover time, you're selling. You're so busy building your business on the inside that with your leftover time, you're selling. And leftover ain't enough. But I could tell from the last few sentences you just said to me, you're far too particular. Everybody wants a perfect business. Everybody wants to write it, just everything right, right? But you really have to settle for 80% if you're ever going to build a big business. I can distinctly remember, Maddie, when I was building my business, I was the bottleneck for about 2 years. I was running such a great shop. I was recruiting people, getting sales done. But I felt like the bottleneck because I really was. Once I acknowledged I was a bottleneck, I got out of all the machinations of the office. I got a partner in to help me with that. And I spent 90% of my time outside selling because that's what I was really good at selling. So I think you have to find a way where you get out of the office and mean it. So you don't come into work before 1 o'clock on these 3 days a week because you're out networking, whatever the networking might be. You're out trying to get new customers, calling on new customers. I don't know how you do that. But if you know you have to spend 70, 80% of your time doing that, then I would sit my whole team down and brainstorm for ideas on who you could call and how you could get more business, because you've got a great team of writers, but you also have a great team of people who are capable of thinking of ideas. So I think you get them down, get them seated down, come as many ideas as you can, good ones, bad ones, whatever. You pick the good ones in the end. You set goals, you set a timeline, and you set each writer who's responsible for what if there's some duties to be done. But for yourself, the biggest duty to be done is 80% of your time on the outside. It's the only way you'll really build your business. You don't do it with leftover time sales. It's stunts business, and you don't do it by being a perfectionist. You do it by being adequately good at the mechanisms. You're hiring good people and going to have to trust them a little bit more in producing good product and be outside more. I guess I said it like 3 times over. Did I, Maddie?
No, it's excellent, excellent advice. So I'm going to scale. I'm hearing you saying I need to spend more time selling and getting out and managing that way. I want to get in front of my ideal clients, my legacy books. Legacy books they're just not books to entertain or inform. They're really books that capture.
Pretty cool. I'm familiar with the business. How do you find your clients now?
I'm 100% referral based right now.
Best businesses are, but you should also be getting new leads. How
Okay.
did you get your initial leads? That was, how did that happen? Yeah, but the
Refer-
first place. I'm so sorry?
They're all referral. I met with business coaches. I meet with business owners.
All right, there you go.
We're right.
The referrals that you went out after. You met with business coaches, you met with business whatever. The pools of people who referred to you. Think of 5 other pools of people who could refer to you.
How do I get in front of those ideal clients that I really want to be in front of, that share that value of something unique that I'm bringing to the market?
Well, you're too particular about the unique stuff to begin with. I have to tell you, it's probably your baby, so that's important.
Yeah.
But you get in front of those people by getting referrals. I mean, you mean once you get a referral, how do you get in to see them? Is it a sales call or is it just done online?
It's usually just discussions via, I guess it is a sales
Online.
call, because I
But-
introduce them to the system and the
But is
accountability.
it online or in person?
Online, most
Yeah.
of them.
I would think so too. If I was doing a legacy book, I wouldn't want you showing up at my office and pitch at me. But I'd read it if it was intriguing. Do you give samples of your work online? Talk
do.
about heroes? Show what you do with their books? They don't mind that at all?
If I have a non-disclosure agreement, and some of the books that I write are non-disclosure,
Yep.
and I'll negotiate that in some of the price if I agree, like with the vision of a book.
I think you just have to do more of what you're doing now. You spent most of your time building your stable of writers, which was the right thing to do. Make sure it's solid. But now that that's on its way, you got to spend the same amount of time building your clients and making many more sales calls into influential groups as you've done before, so you get more referrals.
Okay.
Okay, I can't tell you the specific audience because I'm not in your business, but I'm sure you know it if you give it some thought and brainstorming.
Okay.
Okay, all right, and bring up your energy a little bit. You sound like you're not going to convince me because you're low key. Come on, deliver it.
I'm a writer, I'm an introvert, but I'm so passionate about what I do, and I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, well, of course you're a little nervous, but you say you're so passionate about what you do. If you're going to be the salesman in the company, you really got to let the passion out. I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm so passionate about what I do. Wait till you hear what I do.
My face, I've been told when I talk about something, and then my friends will say, or people will say, man, Maddie, your face just lights up when you talk about your writing. So I will definitely turn the volume
Turn it up.
the vibe
Turn it up. Yeah.
Will do.
Sky's the limit if you can sell.
I can sell.
You could run a nice little boutique business.
I can sell, and these books can sell, and the
I
authors
believe
sell.
you. I believe you.
Yeah,
I'll call you when I need a legacy
excellent.
after I'm dead.
No, beforehand. Beforehand,
Oh.
the idea is not to live forever, but to create something that will.
Lovely, I don't have the time. Okay, I loved answering your questions, just like that last question. Keep giving me your questions. Come on, it's a favorite part of the week for me when I get your questions. Keep sending in your questions, and I'll see you here next week, okay? What's with my eye? It looks funny today. Okay, bye.